welcome back to After the Hype.
We did it.
Yay.
We did it.
We made it.
Gone so long.
I had a baby.
You had a baby.
whole
I was there.
You were.
I
You make the baby.
I was there when that happened, and then when the baby came out, I sat on a little chair and was told things are going great.
And I'm
Process.
like,
Things are going
I'm laying
great.
there going, something's going on down there. I feel a lot of tugging and pulling, and oh hey, something's crying. I guess they pulled the baby out.
Oh yeah, an epidural.
No, that epidural is drugs. I had
You
a
did
C-section.
have an epidural as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
I had that, yes,
Yeah.
but that would not
Yeah.
have brought the baby out.
No, it did not. I remember that part too.
Yeah.
We remember things so vividly.
Yeah.
And they don't. I think that's probably the blessing of it. You guys don't
were
remember
you
much.
not there? I remember it all perfectly
trauma is
well.
happening.
Look at all the gory details.
I
It's
remember
right there.
things.
Burned
They
in my
were
brain.
just really fuzzy.
I did have a nurse move my head. That was fun. Because I walked by to go see the baby, and I thought somebody said my name, and I turned around where the horror show is, where the crater that her stomach used to be is.
Yeah.
And as I turned around, the nurse just took my head and went, "No, look at your baby."
Oh,
Don't look at them vacuuming out my uterus.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a really excellent nurse.
Yeah, she was on point, and I
I do
appreciated
remember
it.
hearing them.
Yeah.
They were like, that sounds like a vacuum.
Special shout out.
Going up you.
Yeah. Those medical professionals really know how to
Yeah, it's like they do
kind
it
of make it
all the time.
easier. Yeah. Shout out to them.
So a bit of house cleaning before. Actually, I'm going to step back. How about we introduce everybody before I do anything else? So I'm your host, as always, Brian Dressel. With me, as always, is Jonathan Hardesty.
Yay.
Chewy Darso.
Hi.
And Emily Blake.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Let's do that again.
Down goes the microphone.
We lost the mic.
You know what? I'm going to keep that in because that's just very. That's
That's
us.
on brand.
Yeah,
That's on
yeah, that works.
Fuck yeah. Welcome to the oh shit.
And then special guest this week because we are doing yet another movie based on a book, and we thought, who better to bring back than an author? We have Allison Fagundes back.
Hi, guys.
Last time was Arrival, correct?
Yes, it was.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent movie.
That was an excellent movie. I wish we could repeat that
Very
situation.
good adaptation of that.
But we'll get into that a little bit. So, like I was saying before, I don't know if I edited it out or not because I don't have that foresight. But I'm going to do a little bit of house cleaning. So we've changed things a little bit After the Hype. Maybe you've noticed, maybe you haven't. We've added a new show. We're adding a whole bunch of other new shows that are coming up soon. Right now, you can see Venture Bros or listen to Venture Bros, or you can watch a lovely animation that John made on YouTube. But that is the first of hopefully many new shows. We have Emily, who's working on a show which is still in development.
It's always 2:00 in the garage.
I love it. John is working on a D&D show, which will hopefully be coming up at some point. The most current one that should be coming out hopefully within the next 4 to 6 weeks is Sam's show, which is tentatively called Samwise, which she actually discovered.
I hope it's 2 words.
Oh, that'd be good. It
Just
works.
say it fast.
Yeah,
It's,
I like that.
I hope there's a comment there. Sam Wise. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a name title.
Sam is wise. Sam is wise on Samwise. I should never be on her show. But
You're
that is-
fired from her show.
Good. But that is a show where she pitches it much better than I do, but I'll do a very brief explanation where she believes that all problems in life can be solved by watching the extended edition of Lord of the Rings.
What?
And
And their special features.
And their special features.
It
And-
makes sense when she says it.
And she,
She's very
man,
passionate
She's
about
much better than I am.
she can crush it.
Yeah.
And I really look forward to seeing that show. She is in the works on it now, and that should be coming out soon. And beyond that, we are now publishing articles on a regular basis. I know we said we were doing that a year ago.
We have a system put in place.
And we lied. And then I went, you know what?
We made a list.
I can only do so much. Why don't I actually let the people who are here and wonderful every week take over? So awesome. Sam and Emily have taken over on running most of the articles, and they just tell me when I need to actually come out of my hobbit hole of being a stay-at-home dad and write something in real quick.
It's mostly Sam right now because I've been a little busy, but I'm getting back.
But yeah.
At some point, I might actually write something.
Yeah.
I can't always keep coming up with ideas, but then fall asleep or feed our baby.
Priorities.
Yeah, these all work.
I'll usually come to the drafting table of the word processor app that I'm using, and it'll be like tumbleweeds and whistling air as I'm like, I've got nothing to write about.
Yeah. So those are actually coming along really great. There's been a bunch that have been coming out as we've been on our hiatus.
So good. They're all so good.
Yeah, so good. And we've gotten some really good feedback and some pure internet feedback, which is always enjoyable to see and
Hey.
go,
Some feedback
Wow,
is
that
better than no
exists.
feedback.
that's true.
Someone read it.
Yeah. Or at least the
You
headline.
noticed I exist.
Yay!
But correct me if I'm wrong, Emily, but those are Wednesdays and Fridays that come out,
I
right?
believe so, yes.
That's kinda what we're shooting for,
John
yeah.
would know better because John
Yeah.
posts them.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. Wednesdays
So
and Fridays.
everyone knows better than me right
Yeah,
now.
Sam's running the schedule. I'm copy editing and John's posting.
Yeah.
That's the
Doing all
system.
the boring web stuff.
the boring web stuff that none of us know how to do. If we were paying, you'd have the best job security.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you gotta look for that sort of stuff in the world.
So we'll do a really quick round of plugs for anyone here who has something to plug. I've already plugged everything, which is all after the hype.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have something to plug before we get to Allison, who has legitimate things to plug? No. Okay, cool. Allison, you've written a book, a couple books. How many books?
I'm trying to finish the second one. It's kind of hard when you're working for someone else.
I get that.
Yeah.
Damn J jobs.
Seriously. Trying to get it out for Christmas this year, the sequel to my first one, Gotta Save the King. Because it's kind of left on a cliffhanger, and I was given a lot of flack for that you shouldn't end a book that way. But I said so, and did it anyway.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a lot of turmoil that you jump right into with the second one. So unfortunately, it's not a standalone, but kind of made it work that way on purpose. Yeah.
Lots of movies are made that way. A book can be too.
See, standalones are overrated when it comes to book. You want to read more books, so
You also want to sell more books.
Yeah.
And one thing that sells more books is more books in one series.
Is
Yeah.
it sci-fi fantasy? Kinda?
Yes,
Yeah.
it
Well,
is.
I mean that makes even more sense because those
Yeah.
do tend to.
There's
be
more to
ongoing
it.
stories.
Yeah.
One of my favorite fantasy series ever is Children of Fire, and you cannot just read one of those books. You have to read all three, or it doesn't make sense.
Right.
I think it works.
Yeah.
I have nothing to do with this, but I think you made the right choice.
I appreciate that. I have more confidence in my decision. Thank you.
Yeah.
the Brian seal of approval.
Yeah.
Two thumbs, way up.
Everybody seeks that.
It helps. It helps me in the dark times.
It
I'm only
shouldn't.
like partially sarcastic.
Okay, are we ready to move into where have you been doing? I know
Yes.
it's been a long 2 months, so we'll try to keep this as trim as possible. I'll go first. I, over the break, watched the HBO show Succession, which is a whole bunch of rich white people yelling at each other. And when I heard that pitch, I'm like,
Typical.
yeah. I kind of went, I like the cast, and that's it. So I'm not sure if I want to watch this or not. And then I started watching it, and it is so ridiculously engaging and well written and well performed that the whole, like, we know this story, we've heard it 1,000 times, kind of goes out the window because everyone brings it to the table in a way that I haven't seen an HBO show since Game of Thrones, and that's the level I'm putting this at. Like, I love the hell out of this show. It finishes, as of this recording, tomorrow. It'll be long gone by the time this recording comes out. But if you haven't given it a shot yet, if you have it available to see HBO Go or HBO Now or even just regular old HBO, I highly recommend it. It's like Game of Thrones without any of the action or sci-fi or fantasy stuff, just all the family drama packed into one show, and I love it so much. The only other quick thing that I will mention is I played Wolfenstein 2, and that game is badass, and I'll just leave it at that.
Nice. Was there a subtitle for that? Like the new Colossus, was it? Or is that the first one? I forget.
I don't remember. Yeah, there is a subtitle, but if you look up Wolfenstein 2 from 2017, I think you'll find it.
Yeah.
You'll be good. Nothing
Because I
wrong.
played the very first Wolfenstein 2, like whatever the second game is.
Yeah, it's a different game.
Yep.
Totally different game. John, what about you? Where have you been doing?
So to kind of fit on brand with space flight and time and all that, I've been playing No Man's Sky. They just updated their next update, which means they're on Xbox One now and all that, and just beautiful 70s sci-fi covers, exploring galaxy, crafting, flying around, very peaceful, very salt. Like even though there's NPCs in there, there's a sense of vastness in space because everything's procedurally generated, so you're just out there alone with beautiful space. It's very nice, very fun.
If only they could have released the game as it is now, back when it came out.
Yep.
It would have done really well.
Yep.
Oops.
Yeah, everything that's in this next update is essentially most of the culmination of what they promised back years ago.
Oops.
Oops.
No,
Did they learn anything from
Don't
Spore?
release something until it's done.
Yeah, but after a while,
It's
you
a
need
simple
that money.
concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With video games, after a while, you need that money, though.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
And
that
they're
goes into
small.
it.
They're a small enough team that it's like, yeah, they need that money really quick.
Yeah. Chip, what about you?
Well, it's been a long period of watching a lot of stuff, so
Yeah.
it's hard to choose. But the thing that I independently watched and then it turned out to be a really big deal, like I didn't realize it was up for Emmys and all this other stuff, Wild Wild Country on Netflix.
Really?
I was just perusing Netflix and I saw the caption and I just looked at it and I realized it's about a cult. I'm like, I like cults. Cults are interesting. I'll watch this.
Thank you for clarifying.
And then it turned out to be a thing about a guru from India who, Rajneesh, and where's the word? Sannyasi, I believe they're called. Sannyasians. Essentially, he started this cult in India. He pretty much said that he was a prophet, and a very, like, 60s type of prophet, where he was really into free love and expression. But then on the twist, he was also really into capitalism, really into money, and not necessarily power, but really into, like, materialism. So it's like sex and materialism. And then he came to America, and they bought a big plot of land in this little area of Oregon, and started building an illegal city. They just started building a city, and took over this neighboring town, because the neighboring town's just like, what the frick are you guys doing over there? And then it turned into this massive community that started
Poisoning
the local town, and then trying to kill senators and all this other stuff.
Whoa.
Because they thought it was all about racism and being suspicious of new ideas. But then I look at it from the locals' perspectives. I'm like, no, I'd be like, what the frick are you guys doing too? If someone just moved into my town and started building all this stuff and then trying to rig our elections to get power, it's like, these people aren't trustworthy. I don't care what your skin color is. And I was just watching this documentary and be like, how did I never learn about this growing up?
Okay.
And it's actually a really good documentary, because they did a pretty fantastic job staying unbiased between the people that were in the commune and the people that were fighting them, essentially.
I'm going to pause you because you're doing a really good pitch, and I want people to actually watch this. And I feel like you're telling us the whole show.
No, there's so much. But it's a 6-parter, and you're watching it, and you're just like, I understand everyone's perspective and how you think you're doing the right thing, but no, you're not.
Oh, cool. Allison, what about you?
I finally finished binge watching season 2 of Luke Cage.
Sorry.
Oh, I can't do it. I tried.
The thing is, there was one thing that kept me going. The Iron Fist character is finally becoming the actual Iron Fist character that's in the comic books, and not this whiny little brat that basically has no foundation and is a bit all over the place. So it was kind of like seeing that character come back in and team up with Luke, because there's some of that in the comics too. And to see that be successful and see that character start to try to, because Luke's was starting to get like a lot of inner anger that he wasn't letting go. And what, of course, made him more angry was people saying, you're angry, you should, cut that out. And he's like, I'm not angry, kind of thing. So for Danny to kind of come in from a very zen surf bum perspective that he has, that's really awesome.
So accurate.
Because, no, remember, in the animated series, like, yeah, you just need to kind of chill vibe. That's really excellent. He would help Luke kind of like recenter, but Luke never would kind of go full it through thoroughly. So when you see what happens at the end of the of that particular season, it just kind of does a 180 because of a particular character that gets offed. You kind of see this character that's supposed to be a symbol for good potentially go down a very dark path.
Interesting. Cool. The first episode was not that interesting, and I didn't watch the second. So.
No, it wasn't. You got to hang in to like 5.
Oh, that's a big buy-in.
I know.
But maybe I'll give it a shot. I eventually gave Punisher a shot, and I actually enjoyed it. So who knows?
Love that one.
I actually ended up enjoying Punisher as well.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to. Emily, what about you?
I got back recently from Comic-Con. I did Comic-Con.
Nice.
I'm going to write up a humorous recap of that for the site. So I don't want to go into all my details here. I was just thinking, what's a funny way I can talk about this as I was walking through con. I had plantar fasciitis the whole time, so that was fun.
Ooh.
Yeah. I was doing like 20,000 steps a day and being like, this hurts.
Your theory was, I'll beat the pain out of me.
But I also saw Sorry to Bother You, and it was amazing and visually kind of like crazy and wacky and satirical. And I was very confused. I wanted so badly to understand it, and I didn't understand it. I mean, I understand bits of it, and then I felt better because there's an interview with Boots Riley, the creator, where they were like, what's this movie about? It seems like it's about a lot of things. He's like, oh, yeah, no, it is. I had a lot of thoughts, so I put a lot of shit in this movie. Well, it's not, literally what he said. But I was like, oh, okay. So I was confused because the movie doesn't have a solid through line of theme. it just kind of bounces from one thing to the next and points it out satirically. So it's okay. I think the way we're used to watching movies is you're expecting this narrative to just sort of follow a path and this one veered all over the place and sometimes it was about racism. It was very much about capitalism. It was about all these other things. And so I walked out of the movie going, what am I supposed to learn? And it was more like, well, just think about lots of stuff. And that I feel like I want to rewatch it knowing that it's intentionally not supposed to be one particular thought for the whole movie. Tessa Thompson kills it. It's definitely creative. It is definitely original. It's something that you have not seen before. But expect to be possibly confused.
Yeah, I read in an article that was just saying this is why you need to see this movie. And the article at the end just pretty much the main story that it told, at least in the review, or whatever it was.
It has a narrative. It just doesn't
it was
have
about
a thematic
capitalism and the power of unions almost.
I get that's some of it. It was about like 8 things.
Yeah.
That's probably the strongest one. At least that's the last third of the movie is about that. But it's about so many different things that it was really hard for me to figure out what the movie. Every time you were like, "Oh, that's what this movie's about." Nope, it's not. It's about something else. Okay. So yeah, I look forward to reading all kinds of articles that break it down and maybe help me understand it a bit better.
That's when you got a good art movie right there.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely artistic. It's definitely original.
Okay, so moving into the first episode back after our 2-month break, I wanted to do something that I thought would be really fun and good. And then I fucked up and I picked Wrinkle in Time.
I encouraged you because I watched it on a plane without sound because I never bring
Apparently
headphones
that's the way
anymore.
to watch it.
So I watched it with subtitles and rewatching it with the sound. It was about the same actually.
The trailers made it look so good.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
A+ marketing.
Like, the marketing was great, but that's Disney for you.
Right.
But there's
Budget.
Yeah, like there's reasons that I wanted this movie to succeed, which we will talk about as we go through this movie. There's a lot of things riding on both Ava's career and just a lot of like bold claims that they decided to shove into this movie, and we'll get into why none of it works and why that's very, very upsetting. But really quick before we do, I want to read one quick review that somebody pointed out before we get into this and we did the breakdown and everything that I think is probably the best way to say moving forward how we, I think collectively, may feel about this movie. If anything, the trouble with Wrinkle is you never really get a sense of DuVernay's personal touch. In fact, it feels a lot like Brad Bird's big-budget, equally swarmy 2015 Tomorrowland. Both attempt to be so broad and universal that they feel disconnected from anything human. But universality doesn't work that way, no matter how much you tell everyone to think like a kid.
Who did that review?
That was Vince Machini from Uprocks. And I think that perfectly captures how I will feel the rest of the day moving
and
forward.
I thought that was funny because you actually referenced Tomorrowland when you were watching this movie.
I will say this. I like this more than Tomorrowland. Because Tomorrowland fucking blows. But it's a different episode that I will never record. So I'm not going to watch that fucking movie again. All right, so here we go. Allison, are you ready to do a breakdown for this?
Lay it on me. Let's do it.
30 seconds. Wrinkle in Time. Here we go, 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 go.
Okay, little Meg Murray loses her dad for 4 years because he's a scientist that really wants to explore the universe and ends up disappearing one day from her family. She has a really hard time with school, other children, and things like that, until her little genius little brother comes along and kind of leads her to the path of these existential sort of beings that guide her to find her father on the other side of the universe.
I'll take it, yeah. You skipped a whole bunch, but it still kind of made sense. So, yeah, I'd say that's a success. Yeah.
I mean, that's the pitch that got this movie made.
I guess. I don't know what the fuck got this movie made. But let's do a quick...
Franchisability.
So here, everyone got my take on this thing pretty quick. Let's do a hot take around the table. What else do other people think of this? Like, when you finish it, what were your feelings?
What just happened?
Right.
That's a good one. Chewy?
On first viewing, I was like, well, that was kind of disappointing. On second viewing, Neverending Story did it better.
There you go.
Yeah,
there
Allison?
you go. That's like that. I like that. It felt definitely like a letdown of what it could have been.
Yeah. Emily, last but not
It's
least.
a hot mess. I don't think everybody involved was making the same movie.
That is an excellent way to put it, because everyone's in a different fucking movie.
And my biggest disappointment was how underwhelmed I was by the female lead.
She was boring.
So here's the thing: so this movie came out with a woman of color director who's just directed Selma and did an amazing job with Selma. Like this woman should be one of our like front runner like voices, not just like for female in film, but for just people in film. Like she's fantastic.
Sure.
And they give her a movie that is like a tentpole. Not everyone, but a lot of people read Wrinkle in Time. Like it's a very popular book. Not unfortunately, but it's a very Christian book. And the way to try to market that to everyone is just take all the religious themes and chuck them out the door. And you're left with a very strange film that I don't care if you're the best director ever. You're now left with a hollow husk of a movie. And trying to make that work is going to be near impossible.
Yeah, I wasn't a part of the crowd that did not read this book growing up. So I actually went to Wikipedia to find out what the book was about after watching the movie. And then when I read all the themes of Christianity and the messages that the author said, the author said, this is essentially saying this is my worldview about when she wrote this book. It was like her thoughts on everything. You take out the Christianity aspect and you gutted the soul of the story. Like it just didn't feel like they had any idea how to capture any of the messages without that.
It's very strange because you went through a list of what the messages were supposed to be. Do you remember any of what those were?
The messages, it was supposed to be about, I read Wikipedia on this, so it's very much about empowerment still, about children being able to take control of their lives and have self-confidence. And it was all told through a very Christian viewpoint on how you're supposed to grow up. This is the foundation you have. Angels are here to help you, and you need to grow and realize your own faith, essentially, and not just within God, but within yourself. And none of that was in this movie.
No, like it not in this movie, but it's just like you can feel it like in the wings. Like you can see the moments of it, of like specifically when like Reese Witherspoon says, "I give you your faults." It's like
yeah, in the book she tells you a passage from Corinthians.
Like it's a little different, but it's like you can see kind of what they were trying to do, but nope.
And the way they use that too. Oh, she gave me my faults. Hey, I have faults. What? Like
and
it doesn't.
How is that supposed to defeat the it?
Yeah.
Well,
Like I was never.
yeah,
like,
That's
it's
all
like,
that happens. She doesn't use the fault. She just says, "I
She
have
admits
faults."
the faults.
She uses
Yeah.
her faults to try, because he's trying to use her faults to give her reasons why she sucks as a person and why she needs to be this other conform. Oh, that was the other central theme, was conformity, about how to not conform, was in the book, and they kind of touched on the movie, not so much, with communism and stuff.
they give it a passing lip
And-
service.
But
Yeah.
so in the climax with the faults thing, she starts accepting her faults. She's like, "Yes, I am clumsy. Yes, I am scattered. Yes, I am this," and somehow she works that into, "But I still love myself," and it didn't work.
And part of the problem I think with that, it was a big problem with her character in general, is that we never see any of that. We don't really see her being clumsy.
We don't see her
We
doing
don't
anything.
We don't see her doing anything. And not only that, like when
Just
she's
isolated.
like,
The moment I learned she was clumsy is when she said it at the end of the
Yeah.
movie.
and she's
Right, right.
constantly like, "I hate myself," but we never get a reason. I mean, when a girl says she hates herself, it's wrong and it's upsetting and it's stupid, but there's always a reason. Like if
Yeah.
you ask her, "Why do you hate yourself?" she'll be like, "Oh, these are the following things that are wrong with me." But we never hear that. We just see her being all sad. And that boy's like, "I like your hair," and she's like, "Oh." So the only reason I could think that she hates herself is because she hates her hair. That's all I got. That's the only thing
same.
we ever saw her get specific on. So it's like, well, why do you? I mean, it just makes it really hard to get invested in a character when they're.
I know
Although
that,
I think you just touched on something.
I know
the
the
perfect
hair
version
thing.
of her has straight hair.
but the hair
That's
thing
it.
that's a
Solve the
huge.
movie.
That's a huge topic of emotional weight, essentially, in the Black community, about especially
mixed
for
race.
women, whether or not they like their hair, because so often Black women are told to relax their hair and to be more like Western white women's hairstyles, and there's a huge thing now about embracing your black hair, and this is what you can do with
Yeah.
it. This is how you look. This is how you're empowered. So that makes sense in this movie.
But it might have been better if that had been a metaphor for her, like, accepting being mixed race, if that's the way they wanted to go with that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's where they really wanted to go, though.
They
So,
they didn't explain it at all.
yeah,
They didn't tap in. So it was really just a moment for
Yeah.
black girls that
But-
no one else, like, there's no message for anybody else in that.
Well,
I guess.
but there doesn't necessarily have to be. I just think that there needs to be something to her, like, that she's working on resolving. Because if her only issue is that she doesn't like her hair, well then yeah, at the end, good straight hair, done. There you go, you fixed it.
Right.
You know, but it
fate
has
of the
to
world
be
doesn't
deeper
involve
than that.
Yeah,
You know, but it
this
has to
movie,
be a
this movie
deeper-
doesn't delve in anything.
Yeah.
this
That's
is all
what I mean, like,
surface layer stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing for me where I when I watched the trailer for this movie, my gut instinct was not for me, and not for me like I'm a big tough guy. I was just like, this movie doesn't look like it's a movie that was made for me at all, and I just don't really have interest in seeing it. I don't mean that in a negative way. It just kind of didn't look like my thing, which is weird because I'm usually very into whimsical fantasy. Like I love that stuff. It's great. But I looked at this one; it just had that like Disney sheen on it, and it's like, you know what? I don't think I want to watch that, but I'll give it a shot. The problem is for me where I lost the movie was when they get to the first planet and it's like, all right, we're at the first planet, go explore, and they run down a hill and that's it, and now
Yeah, it really
they've
is all they
explored
did.
the planet. Like this movie just has this like unbearable, I'm gonna scratch the very thinnest layer of anything and then move on. Like everything you just finished with these inspirational speeches about how wonderful everybody is and move on.
As
Here's
part
some-
of our tour, we're at the blue planet, and we are going to
Yeah,
move over there
right.
and see
Nailed it.
flowers, and then we're going to the next planet. Hurry!
Because
No, no,
even the kids, even Meg, who's supposed to be a scientist and really smart, and also starts out the movie really cynical. As soon as she gets to the place, she and the other two kids, all three of them are like, "Yay, this is fun." There is no moment where she's like, "Oh, this shouldn't be possible. I don't like," There's no
Yeah.
moment of resistance where she's just like, "I don't trust this. I don't like it." It's all just immediately the second she gets there, she's like, "Oh, I accept it." And that just felt, since we were supposed to have this character who's established as cynical, all of a sudden her problems are resolved and
I
like
forgot she was cynical.
immediately.
Well, that-
Like having.
How
How did
She's
you
Disney
forget that?
cynical.
Oh yeah.
I really want to like delve into like her character with all that, because when I watched the advertisements for this movie, fantasy films was a huge part of my childhood. Like Neverending Story, Labyrinth, Flight of the Navigator, like all these movies about going out and exploring. Like to me, I loved that. It was the core of my being as a child. And I was really excited to see this because I thought, maybe they're going to try to bring that back. And this time it's with a young girl. And she's black, and this is something new. This is exciting. So then when I finally watched it, I'm like, so I have this girl. She's not making any of her own decisions.
No.
The person who's actually making the plot happen is a little boy.
Who is a
Don't-
crack up? Who was a crack up? I did like him.
Oh, I hate that kid
Oh,
so
I didn't.
much.
I thought he was a terrible actor.
I never understood him
His
in the
story
movie.
was more interesting.
He was,
Yeah,
his
because
character
he
was
was
better.
proactive.
Yeah.
Meg is such a lump. She's not just cynical. She's a lump. She's just like, why are we doing this? Don't talk to strangers. Oh my God, I'm sad.
Which made it a
Oh.
frustrating comparison because by nature, like that turned him even more annoying because like we're doing this now. This
Yeah.
is so and so now. It's like, well, who made you boss, asshole?
Yeah.
Like you're not the main character of this.
And
You're
it's
calling
like-
us- I'm
but
the-
he
I feel
was.
like it would
I'm
have
the
been a
hero of
better
this movie.
story if
But
he
he was totally the main character,
Yeah.
except they kept panning to Meg.
Right.
He's the one who has a journey. He's the one who has interesting things happen. He's the one who faces his dark, like, inner nature.
in the
or whatever.
flashback,
Yeah.
he's the only one you see with the mother.
Yeah.
When the father disappears, all you see is him.
And
You don't even
it's-
see the daughter
it
in
was
that
such a
flashback.
disappointment on that level.
And you don't, what I was saying earlier, you don't even see the father in the climax. This whole story, like when you gave the recap, you were like, and she went off to find her father, and then she finds him. Except then there's like 20 minutes more of movie.
Yeah, he's like peace.
Yeah, and then it's her dad's not even
Yeah.
there for the climax.
So
It's
it
like-
turns out that's not even the journey. It's actually between her and her little brother.
yeah.
yeah.
And then she defeats the evil with love, which I hate that ending. I hate it in The Matrix. I hate it in Inception. I hate it. Just not Inception, sorry. Interstellar.
Okay. all right.
It's
I
just
was like, wait a second.
can we not? It is, to me, making the ending of a movie just about the power of love is one of the most lazy tropes these days.
Because no one dives
stop
deeper.
It.
No one dives
Stop
deeper.
It.
Great Huey Lewis song.
See, like when
Hell yes.
like love is a shortcut in these movies. you don't have to dive deeper because it's just the love.
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
It's
now
like-
you stop exploring the media. Like,
And
why?
it allows you to solve everything with exposition instead of having to do something.
It's like the science like gateway of reversal polarity. It's like, okay, yeah, we get it. Now
By
we're
the
just
way,
gonna stop trying.
This was also pitched as a science fiction fantasy. There's no science fiction in this movie.
she says physics one time.
There's some formula on the board.
Yeah, but she says it's basic physics, and I'm like, yeah,
How?
you got into a branch and the thing flung you. There's what physics did
You
you
walked
just
through
use?
some curtains in a car wash, and now you're on a new planet. Like
I don't
that's-
remember that one.
No, like
That's
in the movie, like they walk through
Tesseract.
curtains.
When they
the
tesser.
tesseract.
when they test her.
Yeah,
It's just a bunch of curtains. Like
the Tesser is supposed to be the science fiction, but then the Tesser is created by love.
He said love is the fucking.
Yeah, that's not science.
Oh, when he
Yeah.
says love is the frequency, I threw up in my cereal.
The Honest Trailers does a really good job with that.
I haven't watched it
now,
yet.
I mean, who all here has read it? Just as a
I read it when I was a kid, but I
Okay.
don't remember it.
Long time
'Cause
ago.
I talked to-
think. I honestly, it's kind of fuzzy.
Because I talked to Jandy after watching it, and she mentioned that in the book, the father is actually fighting the it. He's fighting the darkness. He's a
Makes more
warrior,
sense.
and like she's like, go join the fight. Is
So
what
here
the
we
whole
find
thing-
him in the padded room.
We find him in the padded room because he accidentally like fell into the slipstream of it or whatever. I don't know. It's like that doesn't make sense.
And it would have been made. It would have made more sense if instead of arguing with her brother and getting it out of her brother, it's just to get it out of her dad.
Right.
And then we have a through line of a plot. I don't know how it was in the book, but that would have made a lot more sense for the movie.
In the book, when I read the Wikipedia again, the difference was that the father does Tesser her and Calvin and all of them to a different planet. And there, Meg immediately confronts her dad, going, "How can you be a coward? How can you leave him beyond?"
Yeah, that's way better.
And then that's when the Miss W's actually give her gifts, and she goes off to bring Wallace back.
that's so much better.
Yes, it is. And I mentioned that to Brian, and he said, well, they cut that for time. I'm
Clearly.
like, by cutting that for time, they cut out, like, morality and actually her standing up to her father and learning things and being a hero.
And the movie still feels long as a result.
Yeah.
It's like they didn't solve the problem in terms of like.
No.
Because by the end, I'm like, how long is this movie?
This was a clear, like, Disney's like, you get this shit under 2 hours or get the fuck out.
Cut Act 1.
You need to say that in your best Mickey Mouse voice.
It's under 2 hours or fuck you.
Oh, cut you, bitch!
And the Miss W's are supposed to be angels, but in this movie, they're never really established onto what they are. Why do they care?
They're just not human. We get that because they
Yeah.
bring it
Obviously.
up a lot.
And to me, they're also a huge letdown because they're supposed to be warriors themselves, but they need Megan to
Well, they put
keep it on.
Oprah in battle armor.
But then
And glitter.
But they
And
also
glitter. Don't
forget
everyone
that.
in this movie gives up really fast. Even they give
Yeah.
up really fast. Like, oh, he's on Callum or whatever. Oh, we can't go there, so let's leave. Let's just give up. And so it's
Peace,
just-
we're out. We'll be back later.
And I was just like,
Maybe.
how are you guys cool? Like, I
Budget ran out for us. We gotta go. Bye. See ya.
You're not very helpful.
It's not like, say, a good movie, say Empire Strikes Back, where Obi-Wan's like, if you go to that planet, I can't go with you. Like, that
Yeah.
would have been like, this one's just like, oh, we're here. We're not supposed to be. Good luck. See
We're
ya.
starting to fade. Bye.
Yeah. Say hi to
Yeah.
Michael Peña. He's a great actor. And then that's the end of that. It's like...
Yeah.
And really quick, I do want to mention...
All
I
the
just,
characters are disappointing.
it is,
Disappointing
but
is the word for this movie.
Yeah.
disappointing is the name of the game. But it's one of those things where it's like, I don't mean to take a shot where it's very easily to take a shot, but why would you put Oprah in your movie? Like, it is such an easy, like, she is box office poison. And it's nothing against Oprah. I know
She's
a lot of
always
people love
Oprah.
her. But yeah, Oprah is always fucking Oprah. It's like, oh, look, Oprah's wearing battle armor. It's not like, oh, look at Mrs. Who or whatever what she is. It's just like, oh, no, that's Oprah. And tell me a movie beyond The Color Purple of hers that did well.
Oh. I was about to say I liked Beloved. It did not do well.
Yeah, like
No.
she's had good stuff, but she just
Even her TV network had a lot of problems.
because there's a lot of people who love Oprah and a lot of people that hate Oprah, and you put her in something, and you're basically taking a stand that's going to make a lot of people go, "Fuck that movie."
And people don't love Oprah as an actress. People
No.
love Oprah as Oprah.
yeah,
Because
exactly.
she's Oprah. Yes.
Yeah, I think
Because she is Oprah.
I
Sure.
think for Ava DuVernay, it's a very personal choice. She really obviously, if you've heard her talk about working with Oprah on Selma, like she obviously really loves Oprah, and I think she produced Selma, if I
believe
recall
so,
correctly.
yeah.
So I
You
think
can
there's-
love Oprah, but
Yeah.
And be
casting
friends with
her
Oprah.
isn't necessarily a
Yeah.
good
No,
decision.
I agree.
It's a bad decision. Like it's not going to
Especially
work.
for a movie like this that by construction has to do amazing.
Yeah, and like that's the problem. Is like this movie, like they did such a bold stance of like we're gonna have a very diverse cast, we're having a diverse crew, like we're doing everything right, everything that people want to see right now because we're so tired of the norm.
Yeah,
this is all in this movie. It needs to work.
And it wasted Mindy Kaling.
Oh, almost everything wastes.
That's
Mindy
true.
Kaling. Like nobody. Like, I hope It's Always Sunny knows what to do with her because I think she'll be hysterical with that cast. But that's future.
If I was going to cast Miss Who or whatnot instead of Oprah, I would have cast Gina Torres.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Like, talk about a tall, beautiful black woman who oozes strength.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, she played a goddess on Angel.
Oh yeah, she did.
Oh yeah, she did.
I
She's
forget
got
about her on
practice.
Angel.
Yeah.
I loved her in Firefly.
Yes.
And a lot of pretty much I keep knocking that anywhere I see her. I think she's fantastic. And yeah, why didn't better choice than Oprah?
Agreed.
I'm making sure I have my name right. I would have gone Laverne Cox.
Oh, I like that.
Hey.
I love
What
her
about
too,
statuesque?
but yeah, she
But Disney
doesn't
will never
ooze
hire
the
a trans
strength
woman?
that Gina does.
I think she totally
Gina
oozes
just
strength.
looks like an intimidating woman.
They'd both be better choices than Oprah.
Yes. But Disney would not hire a trans woman. I don't think.
Not yet.
No.
No.
Not enough time has passed for them to learn or whatever.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk a little bit other than just Oprah and the plot that didn't work. Actually, I want to get Allison's take on this because you've actually written books and you've worked with this fantasy realm ish before. How would you have approached? Have you read the original book?
I have not.
Not knowing, perfect for this. Then, how would you have tried to approach trying to get this sort of character into a story like this? Does that make sense?
Well, the first thing, going back to how you were saying, Chewy, that it actually has a lot of kind of Christian center and it takes the soul out of the story by taking that element out. In the book I wrote, doesn't have the Christian values kind of thing, but there is this author, as in me, my views in the book. And if you strip that out, you strip out so much that's a skeleton that's left.
Right.
So actually going by the book a little bit more and using it as a more stable roadmap, I think would have built up a lot for the characters.
Yeah, because I've mentioned on this podcast a lot, and I think there's a very interesting argument to be made that movies based on books should be just that, based on books. Trying to adapt the book into a film, I always think, is where you go completely awry. It's like if you want to base it on the book, that's fine. Use as little of the
Still
book
make
as
a good
possible.
movie.
Put the movie first, but the book second. Is my opinion on this, and I think the movies that have done really well do that.
Yes.
This movie, it really tried to have its cake and eat its too. It's like I need to be this story that is A Wrinkle in Time without Christianity because then only certain people will watch it.
And the thing is, it's possible to do it right. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe did a great job.
I still think the TV version that kept the Christianity was a lot better
Well,
than
no,
the
but I
movie
mean, the
version.
movie, the Christian iconography is there. It's just not.
It's not called out.
It's not called out.
Yeah.
It's still there, so you can have it. You just don't have to be blatantly obvious about it if it makes you uncomfortable. You don't have to remove it altogether.
Yeah.
I mean, it boils down to like a simple like thesis statement, which this movie doesn't really have.
Yeah.
That like you can take out the Christian values if you want, but like replace them with something. Find the thing that this movie is going to be about, and then wrap everything around it.
Which
Well,
Yeah,
Like,
it's about
like if
love.
you take out essence, put essence back in, like or like you said,
from
you
the
had a
way
skeleton.
the way they pitched it, what they wanted to put in there was science. They wanted to make a smart movie.
There was
for
no
young-
science.
but
And
that's
they
but that's how they
created
pitch
her
it.
as a scientist, and
Yeah.
then she just forgets she's a scientist for most of the movie.
And then Chris Pine kind of talks over the science part with his imagination. At that little
Yeah.
flashback, it's like,
Yeah.
no science. Let's just talk about the stars and my
Well-
handshake with the universe.
They didn't even try to even go into the whole idea of combining the two, the imagination
Yeah.
and anything on a soul spiritual level, and combining that with science. That wasn't even.
Their home dialogue didn't even have that. Like
Nope.
they argue a little bit. Like, let's be nice to them. Let's bring them to our level instead of like after watching the movie, my wife and I, we talked about the movie, about themes and structure. We started getting into the nitty gritty. They would be getting into the nitty gritty of that, like science. But
Yeah.
what about this? What about this?
And
they
my-
would be talking to each other as equals, not as information dumps for us.
Well, here's my thing: is like, why not wear it on your sleeve? If you're gonna remove
Yeah.
the Christianity from the movie, just be fucking ballsy about it and make Chris Pine a devout Christian who made his entire thesis about using religion to explore the galaxy. And when he tries to pitch that to an audience, his wife is like, You got to cool that shit because no one's going to believe you. They're going to think you're this crazy religious nut. You
Right.
need to just pitch the science part of it. And when they come home, he's like, no, but because of God and this and this and this, I believe this, this, and this. And she's like, yeah, but you got to leave all that stuff out. And if you wear it on your sleeve, then suddenly the whole movie kind of makes sense in a way.
Get like philosophical with it. Start,
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
Talk more about it. Like make that scene be there. Like give it a reason to be there, other than just like
Lip service.
pouty face, and then like flirtatious wrestling. Like, I'm sorry we fought. Let's hug.
Do they like that's the thing is like she feels sad that her dad is missing. There's not a whole lot of her going fuck my dad, you know. It's more like I wish he was here. So when he's all apologetic about not being there, I was like, well, I wish that they had established more anger from her.
Well, again, there's two roads. You can go down the road of I love my dad. He's out there. He's coming back.
Right.
Fuck you for saying he's not. Or there's my dad left me. I fucking hate him.
Which is way more interesting.
They did neither.
but
It's almost like
they
she
did.
didn't,
My
she
dad
didn't
is
choose
gone.
either.
I'm just sad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm fine with either one of those. I think you can get an interesting character either way. But if you try to just walk down the line, you just get a mess of a character, which is what we got.
Should we talk about the character that didn't serve any purpose and did nothing?
Which
boy.
one?
With who?
Calvin.
Which one?
Oh,
Calvin
Calvin.
is
Oh,
Calvin.
yes.
Why
Calvin-
is he there?
Calvin, I like your hair a lot. I'm going to say it over and over again. That's my whole point in this movie.
Right.
And stare at her like he's so beholden
What's so weird is like
before he walks out of frame.
Unless Reese Witherspoon's taking off her clothes, and then he can be distracted. for a
Oh,
moment.
so
God.
weird.
It's so
Very
weird.
Out of
And the little kid,
Like,
being
the whole
like,
time.
"What?"
What's weird is like the kid is supposedly a genius in a different way in school. Jenny was talking about his character, like he serves a purpose, and in like the second book and other ones, like they a lot of the second book takes place in their mind, talking to each other, like
Yeah.
and
he
like,
can read her mind.
He can read her mind. There's like this deep connection. He's actually super intelligent, but like the movie is like, no,
He's
Just
just a
none of
wide-eyed
that.
stare, and every time I look at him, all I get to be like, "You look great in drag." Like that's what every time.
Oh my
I look
God,
at
he
him.
would.
He really would.
He really would.
He'd be a
The
beautiful
cheekbones
woman.
and everything. Yeah.
He'd be a pretty lady. I did think that it was funny. Calvin's eyes are kind of the same as Chris Pine's eyes. I'm like, ooh, maybe that's his real kid.
Whoa. Oh, no.
I just get lost in Chris Pine's eyes whenever he's on screen.
Doesn't everybody?
Yeah, right.
And that's another thing that they changed from the book that I don't get. Making Charles Wallace adopted. Because in the book he's not. And in the movie he's adopted. They did nothing with
And
that.
since it's a biracial couple, you could have cast the same actor. It would have been fine.
Or I'm
Right.
kind of okay with the
He's
adoption
not, but
thing.
he's
Like,
not like it's not like it's a black family and with a kid who's lighter skinned or whatever. He could be either parent. It's fine.
But
it
that's
could, but it's just like it brought nothing to the table for him to be adopted.
No, it didn't.
no, but I can see what they were trying to do. It's again what I was saying earlier, where this movie's trying to be everything that people want from movies. They want a diverse family, they want a diverse cast, they want a diverse everything. And what makes that more diverse than throwing a kid who's not even technically related? Like it's just
that's true.
you're trying to
guess,
check
but-
every box possible.
Yeah,
And
and
then
it
you
screwed
start
up
to
the whole
muddy-
thing.
Yep.
And then you start to muddy the waters by making him the one that gets overtaken by the it. He's like the villain she talks to. Like he's depicted as like villainous when the it has possessed him. So
Yeah.
like, oh, so just because he's adopted, like you start drawing weird conclusions from that just subconsciously.
Well, not
Yeah.
only that, but I mean, she even made Reese Witherspoon's character made the whole comment of he's one of the greatest minds of our time currently in the universe, kind of thing. It's like, then how was he so easily overtaken?
Oh yeah.
And
He's
from
like
what I've been
Anakin
told-
Skywalker's brainwashed
And
level.
why
Like,
is
Right.
Like from
and
what
why
I-
is he the most amazing thing, but then Megan is a lump?
Yeah, for what I've been told is like the reason why Michael Peña gets him is because the stuff the movie doesn't explain, but it is supposedly about logic, order, sameness,
Conformity, communism,
like a
yeah.
computer. Everything's all code the same, and when you start doing mathematics and logic, you're just like repeating the rhythm of numbers is what gets them. And the book supposedly explains that, and I was
Okay.
like that would have helped.
oh,
Yes.
I can see that now that you say that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
it's there.
all you have to do is
but
be like 4 plus
But
4
that
is
was-
8.
that wasn't
da, da, da,
there.
da, da. And it's like, oh yeah, 4 plus 4. Okay, clearly you must be right because you're logical. Like, so it's putting that in there in a little segment, cutting it out from the original source, but like it doesn't make any sense.
so this is another movie that trusts its audience at the wrong time.
Right.
right.
Like,
Right.
like we can get that test ring. All right, fine, you get through space, whatever. I get that. Why does Charles Wallace go with him? I have no idea. Like you over-explained one, and you didn't explain.
And
the
you
other.
left us
Explain
hanging on the other.
testering at all.
and also back to the
They attempted
Back
in their
to the
own
whole-
bullshit way.
Yeah.
thing about him being adopted. I think that was a mistake. Also because that means that here's a father he doesn't know, and not only that, he's not even blood related to him. So there's no no connection between this boy and his dad.
Well, they say that the whole reason he wants to go is because of how much he loves Meg,
Yeah.
and he knows that Meg wants her dad back. So then,
That's
by
true.
proxy,
Connections
it's
there.
the most important thing to him as well.
Yeah.
But again, it's just nothing supports that.
And too, when they find him, he's just like, "Oh, Charles Wallace, my baby boy, the boy you knew for like 5 minutes." I mean, it just
But there's something to be said. Like, there's a scene there that would have been wonderful that they didn't put in there of Meg defending her brother to her
Yeah,
dad.
yeah.
Her dad tried to save Meg, his
Right.
blood daughter, and left his adopted son behind. There's an argument right there of
Right.
like, he is still your son. That is on you. And he's like, well, I had to save you. And then you have, wow, now we have a reason for him to be adopted.
But they don't
Especially with
discuss anything like that.
Nope.
it's like
especially with
Disney
his
was
like pep talk in the flashback where he's like they're trying to tell her about the new brother, how he's
yeah.
part of the family. Like they set up a lot with that. That was like a thing that should be called back to later.
I
And
mean,
it's
there was
never again.
There's obviously no like reinforced bond there to
Yeah.
have him react. The
Like look
same
how
way.
special he's a new part of our family. He is our family.
That's one of the
and then let's forget him.
all these things you're suggesting are such good ideas, and I think therein
Boom.
therein lies the problem. I think there are many problems, but one of the big problems is that no one has any real conflict in this movie. Nobody gets mad at anybody except the conflict between Meg and her brother, but that's because their brother's been brainwashed. It's not
In the
really
last
him.
20 minutes, yeah.
So in the last 20 minutes, no one actually has a genuine beef with anyone else. Everyone is just being nice.
Yeah, it's like the nothing from Neverending Story, but for some reason that still felt like a more like tangible threat. Like this one just
Yeah.
kind of felt weird. And is it just me or did anybody else want Pennywise to show up? Like they kept saying the it, and I'm like, where the fuck is the
In,
clown?
in the honest trailers,
Is it? Yeah.
I think
Nice.
the book was written before it came out.
Yeah.
And
Dang.
that doesn't. The movie came out after both.
Yeah, they
versions.
could probably
as
change
someone
it.
with clown phobia, I am glad that there was no clown in this movie.
That would have freaked me out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have been so on board. I would have finally been enjoying the movie.
one other thing that is not explained in the movie that I read is in the book is that it is its own being. It actually has a manifestation similar to the Miss W's, and it has taken over a planet called the
I think it's Karasot.
Calamari.
yeah,
Kalamazoo?
something. I want to say Kalamazoo, but that's a place in
Like
Wisconsin.
calamar, something like
Or
that.
Michigan.
Club C.
Either way, it's supposed to be an actual planet that
I like Club C.
that it has taken over, and that's where all the conformity and everything that has
You
happened.
can see what happens to
But-
Earth in the future. Like that's kind of like the promise of what it does.
Well,
right?
but in the movie,
okay.
it looks more like of a plane of existence than an actual planet.
That looks like an evil cloud they're hanging out
Yeah,
in.
because when you go to the town, that's supposed to be an actual town on the planet, but in the movie, it's just like this scenario that it's created, and it deconstructs it, and then they're in a white room.
Is
and
it an
so-
evil cloud? Because it looks like an evil cloud.
It
If
looks.
this is
It looks like the what was the evil being in the Green Lantern movie?
That's what I was going to say. This looks like Parallax.
Parallax.
Yeah.
That was it.
Okay, and then people need to learn when you make a major villain, evil being into a dust cloud like Parallax or Galactus or whatnot, it sucks.
Yeah.
Stop doing it.
Stop it.
Stop
Agreed.
it.
Parallax
Just
is a
face
wonderful...
what it is, yeah.
Yeah, just...
well, that's the thing is like it's
Except
again,
for that fart cloud on Rick and Morty, that was genius.
it's the same. It serves the same purpose as love in these movies, in that it shortcuts the general concept of evil,
yeah.
and it generalizes the concept of love, and so you don't have to define it or explore it. Whereas like having it be a tangible, like if the villain had just been a computer or someone in a suit. Like we can latch onto that because it's like, oh, that's what this is representing.
Or
like order.
Just to go back to what I was making fun of earlier, you go back to Pennywise.
Yeah.
Pennywise manifests himself as a clown. That's not what he is.
Right.
It's
No.
just a way that he personifies himself. You could do the same thing with the it here.
And there's
You
kids,
did-
so
you
you-
had shit.
Michael Pena.
Thank you. You had
But
Michael
Michael
Pena.
Pena is supposed to be a servant.
Yeah.
for
But
the
you
it.
you could have used him as a way to personify the evil.
I mean,
Yeah.
putting this out there, any film can use Michael Pena
Yeah, Michael Pena
anywhere.
makes
everything
It's
better.
a solid choice.
And it would be a yes.
I
excellent
actually
choice.
want to watch the one Netflix movie with him in it.
Which one?
I don't remember what it's
Oh,
called.
I
just
know
he's
which one
in
you're
it.
talking about, but
I mean, I'll watch it for him.
He has like visions of aliens conquering Earth or something. And I'm like,
Sweet.
I don't know. It's Michael
I mean-
Pena. I'll watch it.
He's the reason I own Crash. So just saying that.
His is the best storyline.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So before we wrap this thing up here, because we are kind of getting near the end, I'll let Emily do her thing
I
first.
want one more point. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, now, okay.
Yeah.
I'm. I also wanted to make a comment about the filmmaking itself. because there was a lot of talent involved in the filmmakers. But
I could totally tie this into what I was going to do, but go ahead.
Because one of the things is if you are watch your 180s, kids.
Some of the eye lines were bad.
Yes,
awful.
The line crossing was egregious throughout the film. It was constant, and when you're already in a world that is unfamiliar to your viewer, and then on top of that, you are constantly, for those of you who don't know what the line of sight, or the line of, the 180, I would say the 180, where you're supposed to stay on one side of two characters talking, and if you flip around to the other side and you don't orient the viewer to understand where we are, it can really fucking mess with your head.
And for something like this, where it's like we're in
Exactly.
weird random green-blue planet, and now you've crossed 180, like, I'm here, but I don't know
there
where we
were
are.
constant 180 crosses in this movie. And I looked up the cinematographer, and guess what movie he was the DP on, guys? Guess.
Tomorrowland?
Fucking Battleship, bitches.
How did you go from something so right and turn into something so wrong?
I've mentioned
the theme of Battleship.
You signed
Just
my one.
But Battleship, you knew what side of the goddamn line you were on.
True,
most of
you
the
did.
movie.
You signed my 180 rule.
Though the dialogue was equally terrible.
I will say this much. I've mentioned this before. If we ever bring up the 180 rule, watch the movie Paprika. There is a scene where they explain it better than I've ever seen it explained.
Oh, yeah. That's so
Anyway.
amazing.
It's really, really good. So before we get to the end of this thing with quotes and all the others, I want to bring up something that we have not done yet, and I want to talk. Everyone has to say something here. What did you like in this movie?
Okay.
I know it's going to be tough.
That's where I pulled my quote from. I felt like Zach Galifianakis was doing a better job of like making a scene that was enjoyable, and like that dynamic. The whole scene was, but his lines and his behavior in that scene, I actually quite enjoyed.
Okay.
That one to me was interesting because when I read the Wikipedia again, that was a woman in the book.
Oh.
Interesting.
Well, there's a lot of women in this movie. I
Yeah,
think.
but it's just interesting. Again, choices made that I'm like, why'd you do that?
Man, that's a weird one. Go ahead.
The thing I liked in this movie was the costumes. I know they seem over-designed, but I mean,
To hell.
I'm a fan of layers and colors, and actually I do like costumes with text on them. I particularly enjoyed all the outfits that Mindy wore, more so than Oprah or
Let's
Reese.
put Reese Witherspoon in a giant sheet.
Yeah, I'm like, well, that's cool.
With lots of gathering.
Like, I don't
Lots and lots
know
of gathering.
how many sheets that would actually take to make because it's definitely more than one.
It's true.
But Mindy's outfits, like the one, particularly the big robe one where she has text going down her sleeves in multiple layers, I loved it. I
will
thought
say-
it was beautiful.
Please stop putting professors in tweed coats.
Mine
Like I
is
said, how would you know who they are then? Yeah,
That part was cut
See-
out, though.
I wanted to say it
Space
again.
tweed.
Space Tweed.
Space Tweed. I'd watch
Space
that
Tweed.
movie. Can that be a movie? Professors in Space.
I mean,
We'll throw rocket books at you.
I'm sure Roger Corman made a movie like that, right?
Is there still a shower scene where they talk science in the shower?
Oh my god, that movie.
Brian watched a movie of Roger Corman's where girls are taking showers together while talking science.
Oh my god, it is one of the most.
I mean, that's how I talk science.
That is one of the most ridiculous. Basically, a really quick side note. He made a movie that just ripped off Alien, and like, well, let's make it Alien, but with more tits. And they're like, okay.
Sounds like Corman.
And they get to a scene where it's like, oh man, we need to get all this exposition in there. Let's just have these two women bathe each other and talk science the whole time. The movie is ridiculous.
The Game of Thrones method.
Oh yeah. Anyhow, back to this. The thing that I liked in this movie, and it's weird because we spent so much time taking a dig at it, but I really did like that they do it because I don't feel it's really done in movies that often, and especially in a way that actually comes from a place of love, which this movie's blown out its ears with. But I like that they had an adopted main character, and it wasn't like a negative thing. Like there was a very brief touch on it where like when it was trying to use it in a negative way. But beyond that, there was never the moment of he's not my real dad, he's not my real brother. It was very much, this person's in our family now, and everyone went, cool. Mm-hmm. And I really like that because as somebody who's planning on adopting somebody who actually has a birth child of their own, that's something that I could point to if this movie was better and be like, hey, look, this is kind of how we could do it. I'll never let Corn watch this god-awful movie, But if it had been done well, this is something that I thought was actually a really cool thing they
when
brought
he's
in.
Show him
really
Supergirl.
young.
Yeah, Supergirl.
When he's really young, he won't know it's a bad movie. We could still say it's an adopted kid. Look at how great it is. Don't pay attention to structure yet, kid.
What if you show it to him? If you show it to him and he really likes it,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
and then you're stuck with that
I
being
mean,
his favorite movie.
That's fine.
No, it's not.
He'll learn later.
Remember when we said that about Nathan?
Does he honestly still think The Hangover is the best movies?
I don't know.
I hope
I'm
not.
afraid to ask. John?
As far as a thing I liked, kind of similar to Chewie, I liked the costumes and the colors. And I've gotten to a point where I like sci-fi that's kind of floaty, ethereal, colorful.
Remember, this isn't sci-fi. It's just fantasy.
No. But I like all that type of stuff. Spacey, like floaty, bright colors, beautiful landscapes. I like the idea, the designs that they were attempting with this. And I like what they were trying to do. Because I looking at those costumes, I'm like, yeah, overproduced, sure, but I could watch the rest of the movie with just this. And when they left, I'm like, okay, I guess, okay, bye. Interesting part of the movie. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I liked that design. I like the look. I like the look of it.
Sure.
Because that was all I had. But I like the... there we go, making the movie. But I liked how it looked.
Sure. Allison?
I really liked Mindy's character, how she would speak through quotes.
That was interesting.
Because what that did for me is kind of show evidence to those who had listened to her that, look, there are these other humans that came before you that achieved some sort of soul evolution, confidence, or was able to rise to whatever occasion they needed to in their lives to be whoever it was that they needed to be, to become that known person that we all know.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. That was everybody, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's move into quotes on this. I'm going to go first because my quote is a total cheat. I am using part of the movie, but my real quote is what Chewie said after the part was
I
said.
forgot what I said.
Oh, don't worry. I wrote it down. So at one point, when Meg is trying to convince Charles Wallace, I didn't mention how much I hate that they call him Charles Wallace the whole time. Just
Yeah,
Charles
same.
or Wallace.
Same.
It's not that hard.
CW.
CW, I said the same thing. All this would be better. Anyhow, Meg is trying to convince him that, no, you love me. Clearly you love me. And she says, that's why you make me milk on stormy nights. And Chewie very loudly just went, he makes milk for you? I don't think you should drink that.
Yeah, I stand by that.
That was the most entertainment I got out of the whole movie.
My quote was when Charles Wallace says something at the beginning of the movie, and Reese Witherspoon looks down at him and goes, "You're the boss." Like, this is the wrong direction for this movie.
Like I said, I like the... Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to make a joke.
Oh, I apologize.
Canceled. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
worries.
I liked, like I said, I did like the Zach Galifianakis stuff. I actually felt like he was in the movie that I wanted to watch. So that was like the closest I got to being in a... one of the things he says to Reese Witherspoon, he just looks at her and he's like, I like your outfit. It's like a person outfit. And then she responds with, you look okay as well. And I just really liked that moment and that relationship. And that was like, I want that movie. Oh, there it goes.
Really made me miss fun Reese Witherspoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She was awesome back in the day.
And I also miss Zach Galifianakis. I don't remember. He doesn't seem to be in as much lately, is
He's
he?
become such a grump.
Stop being a grump, Zach. We like you.
Yeah. Watch this comedian in cars getting coffee. He's a grumpy dude.
Stop it.
Next.
I got a quote. It's more serious of the quotes. It's in the principal's office where he's like, well, you know, if your dad walked through that door today, what would happen? And her line delivery, I liked, the world would make sense again. Mm-hmm. It was like an honest moment, and probably her only honest moment in the movie as an actress. Just that I felt it. I felt that pain, like oh,
Yeah.
I get it.
It
I
also
get your
stopped-
pain,
Oh, sorry.
and it hit me right here in the feels.
And
It also stops the principal the teacher cold in that moment when he hears that from her.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. There's something to be said. Like, we didn't really talk about her quality of acting. I think this girl's potentially a great actress, and she just wasn't given
Again,
anything
it was,
to do in this.
for her, it's truly this is what she was given.
Yeah. And I think it's a shame, because I think she could be phenomenal.
And she probably will be.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's got time. She's young.
Yeah.
Mine's a little more serious too. It was when Mrs. Witch says the only thing faster than light is the darkness, which really kind of goes against other. Well, I know this isn't a sci-fi movie, but movies that are sci-fi fantasy kind of thing, like the whole Star Wars concept. I mean, when the light side is something that's always accessible and always is something that a Jedi should always kind of live in until, of course, great Jedi come along, but that's a whole other thing. But it's usually this whole idea where the light consumes the darkness very easily when she's actually saying the opposite.
Yeah. And then the darkness ended up almost giving the exact same speech that the Emperor gave to Luke about how powerful it is.
Yeah.
It was pretty close. Like, I feel like they probably changed a couple of words to be like, we're too close. Just
What are the kids like these days? A Star War. Let's put a Star Wars thing in there.
Review system for today. I'm gonna go pretty broad, and we'll see how we do with this. I'm just going straight up fantasy movies,
Okay.
and I'm gonna go first with a movie that, although I enjoy watching it, I will admit fully is total fucking garbage, and I'm going with Krull.
What?
Okay.
Krull is it is just exactly what everyone thought the people were going to want to see, and then everyone went, no, none of us want to see this. This is just awful. It's a very entertaining hot mess to watch, but it is not a good movie. And that's kind of what this one was. Everyone, this is what you want, right? No? Fuck.
I'm going to go with a movie I didn't even actually see. Aragon. A movie that was created because they wanted a franchise to compete with Harry Potter. It looked like it had a lot of pretty colors.
It doesn't.
And it had dragons.
Barely.
But honestly, I didn't see it, and
leaf
everyone
dragon.
told me it was a huge disappointment. And that's what I heard about this movie, so I should have listened.
Oh my! The first third of that book is a boy growing up with his dragon, so they can just get this wonderful bond together and how they are in each other's lives. And in the movie, the dragon fucks off and gets hit by a bolt of lightning and becomes full size. What the fuck, movie? Oh, I hate that movie.
So is that a good review for this
Yeah,
one?
that one works really well.
Even though I never even saw it.
Boo!
What movie was that?
Aragon.
A
Starts
bolt
with an-
of
That's with an
lightning?
E,
Like,
right?
what?
With an E.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
with an E, not an A.
Okay.
Apparently you saw it and you hated it.
I was so mad.
John's
Alice in
thinking.
Wonderland. The Tim Burton one.
Solid choice.
Yeah. In that, like, it's like, okay, you're just take out all the stuff that makes the book so good and the story so good and just do your own thing with it, and it doesn't make any sense.
Is it weird? I actually thought the sequel was better.
I haven't seen the sequel.
It's not good, but
It's better.
I think it's better.
Again, another one with a lot of pretty costumes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no,
And
it
colors. And
looked, it
pretty
looked
colors.
gorgeous and had all that floaty, pretty costumes.
You're going to make
thing.
great toys in the Disney store, kids.
But the second one was made by the guy who did all Flight of the Conchords and the first Muppet movie, and I just really like that guy.
Oh.
Not a great movie, but
No, but
he
sounds-
tried. You can
sounds
see that
promising.
he tried, whereas Tim Burton's just went, yeah, can you just wheel the truck of money that way? I got work.
I brought my bucket of quirk. You want to spread it around?
Here's my ex-wife. Here's Johnny Depp.
And I got a whole truck of white paint next to the truck of money.
In case you need it.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just go to town. I'll watch it from here.
I
All right,
got
Emily,
to
you go.
Oh, go
Or
ahead.
Allison, you got one.
Yo, go.
No, I was thinking the Alice in Wonderland thing too. It's kind of like, this is gonna sound ridiculous. Kind of like the Alice in Wonderland version of August Rush.
I haven't seen August Rush.
It's way better than
Is
this
that thing
movie.
about musicians?
No, this little boy who's kind of a really smart prodigy with musical talent kind of thing uses his talent to find his parents.
That kid was everywhere for a while, and then just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Lost in Space, which has time. It's more sci-fi than
movie
fantasy.
or
but
the show?
The movie. The
Okay.
show is good. The
Matt LeBlanc movie?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
There's
Space spiders.
Space spiders. It has time travel
And
in
then
it.
he gives birth to more spiders.
It has time
what?
travel that could have been cooler. It has a really annoying kid who's kind of pretentious. It's based off pre-existing material, and it didn't do a very good job of adapting it.
Totally works. So I apologize for our first episode back being such a shit show of fuck this movie, but
Really wanted
It
to like
wasn't
this
fuck
movie.
this movie. It was I wish it was better.
It was-
It was
very-
disappointment.
So many
Yeah.
talented people worked on this movie.
Yes.
I mean, Battleship, guys.
Yeah.
But I'm going to bring this one to a close.
Okay.
Next week we'll do our round of plugs here. Next week we actually recorded before this one. I wasn't going to say that, but John kind of ruins it a few times.
I said factual things. Whatever you read in my tone of voice is on Yeah, you're
Sure.
right. You're right. Fine,
yeah,
whatever.
that's right. So we have a puppet movie battle coming out for the Happy Time Murders, and I will say this: it is my favorite battle we've recorded in 2018.
It got violent.
It did.
It's too bad I wasn't on it.
It gets
Sam is dead.
heated.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
I don't want to spoil who wins, but someone does. And
as they do.
A puppet rises from the ashes.
absolutely.
Nice.
Oh yeah, puppet murdered us all. That's what happened.
So a quick round of plugs. Be sure to check out Venture Bros, a Venture Brothers podcast. Either you can check out former episodes in the stream you're listening to right now, or you can head over to its own stream. Just search Venture Bros on virtually any streaming service short of Pocket Cast, which it will be on soon. No, Pocket Cast is on Spotify soon.
Yeah.
And yeah. Oh, and then of course check out articles coming out every Wednesday and Friday, if not a different time if we have guest writers. All really good stuff. The playlist has taken somewhat of a backseat. We might retweak it and it might come out in a new way. We might not. We're thinking about it. That was more for us than for you. So we might
And y'all made that clear by not
listening.
I just want to get my own personal vendetta in relation to music. The Weezer's cover of Africa is bad.
Oh God.
Just wanted to
I
get
don't
that in
disagree with you, but
I just need to keep saying it everywhere because I need to stop hearing it on the radio.
No.
I mean, yes, if you're doing the original.
Weezer.
That is kind of what it feels like.
You're not wrong. It really just kind of feels like every now and then Rivers is going, I'm from Weezer. Weezer.
That's
Okay,
stuck in your all brain.
continue with what you were
Wow.
doing.
That's it for me. And things to plug?
Yeah, Halloween is fast approaching. If you would like a costume, they take a while if they're custom, so you should probably order one early. Contact me. My website is EmilyBlakeSews.com, or you can find me on the Twitters at the Emily Blake or Instagram at Emily Blake Sews, or you can hit me up on Etsy. It's Emily Blake Sews. Yeah, if you want me to make you a costume, I'm really good at ball gowns and long dresses and
Doctor Who
You're pretty
jackets.
good at
Doctor Who
sewing.
coats. I'm really good. Thank you. I'm really good at Doctor Who's 13th Doctor's coat.
Exceptional work.
Thank you.
Allison, where can people find your book?
Amazon. A quick way to get through it, though, is my website, arfagundes.com. Keep an eye on it because as soon as book 2 comes out for Christmas, book 1 will be free for a very short amount of time.
Ooh, promo.
Yeah, to help people get on this gravy train. And we just want to get it out there a little bit more before book 2 drops. And there will be a cover release coming for that closer to Christmas, too.
Exciting stuff. Chewy, anything to plug?
Get Africa from Weezer off the radio.
You don't want to say like new season of Superstore starting
Well, we
soon,
start shooting
or
the new season of
Drunk History was just
Superstore on
finished.
Monday. That's very exciting. They're currently shooting or getting together the new season of Drunk History as well, which I'm not a part of this year because I had to go back to Superstore.
See if we can still get invited to the rap party.
Maybe, I don't know.
Can't turn down a good rap party.
Right?
I keep trying to pilfer corn and be like, hey, you guys need a baby.
Yes. I'm a stay-at-home dad. I'd have to go on set with him. I'd be so into that.
Pay for college. Pay for college.
Yep.
I mean, everyone keeps saying he's such a cute baby, and then they re-say it, going, "I'm actually mean that." And I'm like, how often do you lie about if it's a cute baby?
He's super white.
He is.
He's like a very white baby.
It's very pale.
Two white people made him. What do you
white,
expect?
really white baby.
Yeah, the math suggests that white plus white makes white.
John, anything to plug?
No, just rate and review us on iTunes. Like, keep doing that if you have. Do it again. Like, that always helps us.
We love you when you do it.
Especially the new shows, like with Venture Bros and then Samwise coming out soon. Like,
Tentatively, Sam.
Samwise, I like the title.
So do I.
I'm gonna kick and
Read our
scream.
articles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The shares, the likes, the reviews, they help all of us. Even in the book realm, I'm sure every review helps there too. So,
All right. So thank you everyone for listening. This has been so great to be back. I am very excited and very happy.
I'm very sweaty.
Podcast again.
Very sweaty.
It's hot up in here.
And we're gonna go now.
Bye.
Bye.